We could hope. We could dream.
Yeah. You
Don't
know what?
do that
That's
to
what
Jay,
this.
though.
That's what this show is about. Dreams. Nah, we way too negative for that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what are you talking about?
Stick time. Stick out. Stick time. Stick out. Stick time. Stick out. Stick time. Stick time.
And hockey. Yes, sir.
Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 92 of Stick Talk Hockey. As always, I am your host, Tico. This is my co-host.
I'm yours truly.
That's our producer.
Producer Jay.
And we are here for another episode. The World Juniors are all wrapped up. We got some news going on across the NHL, and we're here to talk about it today. We're going to do a blind ranking as well.
I'm excited. I'm really excited. I'm actually really gassed to go through some of these mock trades, and I'm stoked to see what Jay's got coming down the pipe too.
Yeah, we got mock trades to do as well. That's going to be exciting. Obviously, it's getting to be that time now, right? I mean, we haven't had the Four Nations yet. That'll be next month. But as soon as the new year hits, the pre-trade deadline stuff starts to rumble, and the team we're talking about here, Vancouver, they love to get business done in January. So
absolutely, and they just love having noise around their camp all the time. Alvin just can't shut his damn mouth.
No, that's awesome. And it's bizarre because he only talks like twice a year too, but he just every time that he does it, he's just like, let me pour some gasoline on this.
Yeah, it's just problematic as hell. It just makes things worse. It's like, dude, just stay home.
Yeah. Okay, going back, though, we got to finish up with the World Juniors here. Last time we recorded, Canada had just gotten knocked out. We were incredibly negative about that.
It was a very hateful pod.
So with Canada out, it was nice to get to just sit down and watch some hockey for free with, without the burden of cheering for my nation on the line,
Yeah, absolutely.
Out of the Stick Talk picks, Jonesy was the correct one. The Americans take home the gold, with Finland coming up with the silver, and the Czechs going home with gold with bronze.
Yeah. Did you see that shootout? That was crazy.
It was. I had to go to work. I was texting you, and I needed that shootout to end. No, that was bonkers. Great game.
Fantastic game. I was thrilled, honestly. And like the Finns in that gold medal game really put up a fight. My
They
God.
did. Yeah.
Like that's a solid team right there.
It is a solid team for sure. They put up a fight, but they really did. The regulation in that game felt very close, but as soon as it went to OT, I mean,
it was bad. As soon as the ice opened up and it was 3-on-3, it was like, wow, this is monumentally
they have
different.
sent this lamb out for slaughter here. Like there's just nothing.
No, they had some chances though. They could have broken some hearts early, but when they didn't get that puck to go in, it's like, yeah, that's over. Like there's way too much skill and speed on that US team to go 3-on-3 for nah.
So earlier this year, we're all in the same Fantrax Fantasy Hockey League, right? We've talked about it a few times on here. It's a really deep league. And Jonesy murdered you at our draft table this year.
I was so upset.
Our draft table, you're drafting the real prospects, basically the same players that just got drafted in the NHL draft because it's a full keeper league. And every single time Trill was texting me, I got a guy for my next pick. Jonesy was taking that motherfucker. And here we are, 6 months later. Teddy Stiga, a patented Trill boy, scores the game-winning golden goal, assisted by another guy. Who was the assist on that, Jay?
Well, it was either assisted by Hudson or Boyum.
It was Zeev, I'm pretty sure.
And whoever did assist scored a goal earlier in that game.
How did you feel watching that?
Bitter.
Yeah.
Goddamn bitter. Made me feel a little better that it was his first goal of the tournament. I was like, okay, at least he didn't like go crazy. But I mean, like, yeah.
Jonesy was like he was for real patented our Fantrax Kendrick Lamar, the boogeyman,
I
after that draft.
I was so upset. Like every time that there was like, because I think it worked out that you were like 2 picks ahead of me in the draft.
Yeah, something like that.
So every time that it was coming down to the wire and I'd like settled on a guy,
Yeah.
it's just
I'm just remembering Luke Misa right now.
Yeah, yeah.
That's some of the craziest. Nah, I gotta see this.
I'm gonna put some of the screenshots of that in this video because it was actually unhinged.
I was so upset. Like
Yeah.
I was like having the worst day ever.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I like tried to trade with a team in this league all day to get ahead of Jay because I knew he was going to do it again. I knew he was going to burn me.
Mhm.
So I tried to trade up for the pick at the end of the round before that.
Mhm.
And this dude kept me on the hook all goddamn day. He kept me on the hook all goddamn day talking trades just for him at the very last second to go, nah, I think I'm going to keep it. And then he drafted some random fuck I'd never heard of. I was like, what do you mean?
Jonesy just sent me the screenshot here. This is the screenshot I sent to you, correct? Of us bitching about that team. Then you spam texting me. Never mind, Jonesy just took him. What the f is going on, bro? He went 155th overall. I'm so goddamn banned right now. I'm actually speechless. Just wow.
Keep in mind
Jonesy.
that there's like 16 teams in this league. So like
Yeah, it's a big league, big drafts.
like going 155th, like guys that go that late typically
Yeah.
don't even get drafted in
No,
this league.
no.
So I was like, oh, this is like a shoe-in. Like I'm just gonna go like highway robbery. I have this guy like on the cork board and then just got steamer. It was like when you look the wrong way on a one-way street and
Yeah.
get hit by a bus. It was just
Yeah.
like bow.
So the boogeyman reared his ugly head at the end of this World Juniors portrayal. It was really something. The Americans, though, did you see the photo of them in the locker room after the game,
No, I didn't.
all holding up the Johnny Gaudreau jersey? That was a really cool.
Oh,
touch.
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that.
yeah, love
What-
to
what-
see that.
What a beautiful dedication, honestly, and like
For a guy who loved the World Juniors.
yeah, like lived, breathed it. Absolutely. I think that's a just phenomenal touch.
Super cool. Yeah.
And I mean, like, you know, my prospects, they did pretty good, all right. Like,
Yeah,
they did, you know, Kiskinen got 6 goals,
Not too shabby.
7 points. It's like,
Not too shabby.
yeah, we'll take that.
I was very happy with my boy Ryan Leonard.
Yeah, how could you not? That
What a tournament for that fella.
yeah, and I mean, he could have been the difference maker in that gold medal game.
Yeah,
it was
absolutely.
just a little bit of puck luck not going his way, and
Yeah.
he got goalied a couple of times.
And
But-
my boy Carter George as well had a great tournament for Canada, even if Canada didn't.
Yeah. I mean, he was one of the only standout players,
Yeah.
so it's hard to not
Yeah. Tragic, but yes.
is what it is. But
The Czechs too. What a team, eh?
what a team! Like, what a sneaky team. We talked about it when I took them to win the underdog gold
Mhm,
medal,
mhm.
but what a team!
Yeah.
And like the heart, the drive,
Absolutely.
the coaching.
Yep.
Like just phenomenal. Like they play such an effortlessly quick, non-stop game. Like they were all over Slovakia in that.
It's
It was Slovakia, right?
no, they were playing
No, yeah, Slovakia didn't make the Swedes.
yeah, the Swedes.
It
Yeah.
was the Swedes, sorry.
Um
Yeah, they were all over the Swedes in that one.
no, they're like a hockey fans team to watch, you know? Like if you love the game, it's hard to not look at that team and be like, "Oh, I like watching this team," you know?
Yeah, you got some snipers, you got some really slick danglers.
Yeah.
Like they have a little bit of everything, and they're all just so elite at what they do.
Just
like
giving her.
Yeah.
Just giving her.
absolutely, like
Yeah.
heart and soul.
Yeah.
And like watching the bench erupt when they tied the game, it was like, how can you not love that?
Right?
Like that's so good.
Yeah, super cool stuff to see. What a great tournament. I'm really excited for next year. Next year it'll be in the States.
Yep.
Down in Minnesota.
Oh,
Big hockey, obviously state down there. And you got to think it's going to be loud. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited. I mean, I'm a little weary of it too. I want to see some big change in Hockey Canada.
Yeah, I think we all do.
So until I see that change, like I'm excited to see the rest of the countries play,
Yeah.
but like I'm not excited. I don't know. Canada's like in one of those places now where it's like something's got to give.
Yeah, I'm not excited to watch Canada play. I'm just excited to watch good hockey from the other teams.
Yeah, exactly. Because I know probably a lot of the shenanigans that happened are
Yeah.
going to continue to happen.
So, getting back to the NHL here, the Washington Capitals are second in the league by point percentage right now, I believe. You know, it's not really a secret that they're on an absolute heater season right now. They've been just fantastic. And I want to take a second to talk about Pierre-Luc Dubois here. This guy, after just getting bounced around, being likely the problem, but maybe not the problem, who knows? This guy might be back and might be one of the biggest ads for this team.
Sneaky ad too. I don't think they paid too much for him, did they?
What was that trade again? They sent out
Darcy Kemper.
Darcy Kemper, yeah, 1-for-1 Darcy Kemper.
It's a great trade.
Yeah, I mean he's on a 66-point pace right now, which would be a career high for him. Second in 5-on-5 points on the Capitals, while shooting 10.4%, which is the lowest of his career. His lowest over the course of a full season is 11%. I mean, this guy's humming.
Yeah, you know what? Like on pace for new career highs. Like we'll take that. It's kind of crazy. Like for being how hyped he is and was, like to only have ever had like a 60 and 63 point season as like his highest is like kind of nuts for like how much media hype and trade hype he constantly garners. Like,
yeah,
you'd swear that he was an 80-point player.
Yeah, but I feel like when you're like he had 64 points in his second season. If you're like or 61 points, sorry. If you're a 60-point centerman at whatever that, how old is he now? How old was he there?
He was very young.
Yeah, being a big 60-point centerman that went third overall at that age, like that's a really hyped guy. You know, you're expecting a guy like that to obviously far outperform that through the career, right?
Yeah, he had no AHL time. Like he just went straight from the Q to the NHL in his rookie year and put up 48 points. So I mean, like I guess it's like highly touted.
So I get the hype there for sure.
He just kind of capped out at a certain point, like the 20 and 41, then the injury trouble, then the you know all of the noise starts, and then
exactly.
It makes sense.
I'm happy for the guy. I mean, he's a guy that's sick when he's on, and you like to see that. And the Capitals are just one of the most fun teams to watch in the NHL right now. I don't know that there's any like must tune in games for me as much as the Capitals right now. So good for him and good for the team. That ends up looking like a great trade halfway through the first season of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's phenomenal because I really didn't like this trade at the time. I thought that, well, actually, I can't say that because like I don't really like Kemper, so
See, and I do, and I thought it was a great trade for LA at the time. I was like, great, you dump this guy's friggin' contract, and he's been horrendous. You get a goalie who knows, but like he's an actual goalie, and LA needs one. I loved it for them at the time, and I wasn't even thinking about what the Capitals were doing with it. I said maybe it's a cool home run swing. You need to kind of take a couple home run swings right now.
Yeah.
They got it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I didn't believe it was going to work, but I liked it for the concept and idea, and I'm thrilled to see it work because this is a guy who's had some terrible luck over the last few years, and maybe and probably unjustly been blamed for a lot of things not working out. I mean, you know what you're getting into when you buy a polarizing player. Like if a team's trading him away because of an issue and you go out of your way to like ignore that and then trade for him, you're inheriting that issue. So that's like largely on you. You should have figured out how to deal with that.
Well, and yeah, I mean, in LA's case in particular, right? Like I thought that contract was weird out the gate, right? Like they traded for this guy who's been rather misaligned through his career, and you need him to be in the right home, clearly. And yet, before they'd even seen him play a game, they handed him a massive contract. And I thought that was a little bit insane. And it doesn't really end up burning them, which is kind of shocking, right? But hey, here we are.
I mean, it kind of does burn them a little bit. Kemper hasn't been great, and he's had injury issues, and they didn't.
But
really
like they
get
got an asset for the player. You know what I mean? They're not
they-
stuck with that contract for 8 years.
I mean, that's true, and he is like older, and his contract was shorter, so they're just out of the lights a lot sooner. But
Yeah.
yeah, but good for him. Good for him, and honestly, good for the Caps.
Yeah.
That was a team that I didn't like watching suck last year. I do like watching a few teams suck in this league. I'm not gonna lie, I am a hater, but I just don't hate the Caps. I don't know.
No. I think we talked about it last year or last week, maybe a couple weeks ago, where like the Capitals last year when they made the playoffs, I was like, ugh. I so don't want to watch the Washington Capitals play playoff hockey. And this year, I'm amped for it.
I'm really excited.
I
I'm thrilled.
want to see that team win a round.
Absolutely. I'm really, really stoked. I think they're going to play a really tight brand of playoff hockey this year.
Do we get one more Caps Penguins?
No.
No, that Penguins team ain't making the playoffs.
Hell no.
We could hope, we could dream.
Yeah. You
Don't
know what?
do
That's
that
what
to Jay,
this.
though.
That's what this show is about. Dreams. Nah, we way too negative for that.
Yeah, I was going to say, what are you talking about?
Oh, dang.
The most honest I'd ever been, I was at a Davey show, and he was like, yeah, put your hand up if you never hated. And I just stood there with my hands down. And I was like,
I do be hating.
I'm not going to lie, Dave. That's my bag, dog. Like, I'm not changing that now.
The two wildcard teams
Wow.
in the East by points percentage right now are the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Montreal Canadiens. Ain't that something?
Hey, you know what?
Columbus?
The Senators are tied, though, with the Canadians in
What a
point
time to be
percentage.
alive.
So,
Columbus
Mm-hmm.
are honestly like parlay locks.
They are.
I swear to God, they come through every time.
They do. Ken Johnson didn't come through today, but that's okay.
didn't we talk about this a few weeks ago, too, where it's just like one of those teams that like everyone kind of just fudges and then they blow it the next day, like they rate it as a day off?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think most of these teams are kind of like that. Like the Canadians heater. Did you see? So before the Vancouver game on Monday on Prime, they had played 4 games in a row. They were on a 4-game win streak against the 4 most recent Cup winners. It was Florida, Vegas, Tampa, and Colorado.
Yeah.
And won all those games, and then beat Vancouver.
Yeah.
They're playing good hockey right now. Honestly, like it looked like good hockey.
Yeah, absolutely. And it says something about that team and their potential when they're able to do that against squads continuously. Like,
Yeah.
after the third, or even after the second win, that third team should have seen it coming. They should have known to take them more seriously, and they probably did, and it wasn't good enough, like, you know?
No, they're plucky right now for sure, and I mean obviously Columbus is as well. We got the East is actually interesting this year. Last year was such a slog.
Oh my God, it was so boring.
It was the most boring. Yeah, it was the most boring. There's just no two ways around it. This year, like all 3 playoff teams in each division, you know, Toronto, Florida, Tampa, Washington, Carolina, New Jersey, all interesting teams. And then the wild card race hopefully stays tight because I want that to be fun too.
I absolutely agree.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't want to see Columbus make the playoffs yet, just because I don't think they're ready, and it's going to be a quick bounce, and that's just boring.
I don't think they will.
I also don't want to see Boston make it either, though.
Yeah, no, I'm good on that.
There's a weird part
honestly,
of me that hopes that Pittsburgh kind of figures it out and meets Washington. That'd be kind of cool. I don't know.
that would be awesome.
It'd be
I mean,
sick.
yeah, I'd love to see it as well. I'd like to see them or the Sens, just because I think the Sens, like, could be dangerous. Like, because they're here right now and they've been doing it without Allmark.
Yeah, I was gonna say Allmark's been hurt for well, he's been hurt and not hurt and then hurt
Yeah,
and then not hurt
Yeah.
all season.
So I don't know. I think that team. I'd like to watch the Ottawa Senators play some playoff hockey. The rest, though, the other teams, there's not a single wildcard team that's winning around.
No, I mean no.
That's okay though.
New York being 7th is crazy.
What are they by points percentage?
They're at 500.
Yeah, they're 500.
That's crazy.
500 hockey, same as the Pittsburgh Penguins. Oh, that's nice.
Doesn't that make you happy?
That's
that just
nice
like
to
warms
hear.
my heart. Like God, things have been righted.
Yeah. Wow, it's a beautiful time.
How's Matt Rempe working out for you over there?
Not playing. That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
Just hanging out.
Just what you doing? Nothing, just hanging out.
Just hanging around. What do we got going in the West there? Colorado in the wild card spot and Calgary by points percentage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly got like a Vancouver, Colorado wild card.
Yeah, I think that'll be the most likely case. I don't think that Utah has what it takes to keep pulling it up there as much as.
I just think their goaltending's too hit and miss.
Yeah, I think they're too young. When the games get harder through the end of the season, it's going to be difficult for them to keep it up. And then Calgary is just the opposite, where they're kind of old and for the most part, and those guys that they've really leaned on through the season are going to struggle to keep it up through the end of the year.
And I mean, Calgary, like, Mantha's done for the year.
Yeah.
Tore his MCL.
Yeah.
Zari's out for we don't know how long,
Yeah.
but he just had his knee bent backwards 2 nights ago. Like, that looked really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Jay, did we get an update on Zari yet? Okay. So, Zari being out indefinitely is concerning, but not needing surgery is probably the best case scenario because that was a disgusting knee-on-knee hit. And the way he went down, I thought that, like...
It looked bad.
It looked really
real bad.
bad. It looked like it could have been a career ender.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't seen a guy roll around on the ice like that in a long time, and it made me, like, actually sick.
Yeah.
Like, when you watch enough hockey, like, when you see stuff like that, it just makes your stomach drop. You're like, wow, uh-oh.
Yeah.
How y'all feeling about Kings Oilers Part 4?
God, no. Michael Scott meme. No!
Well, yeah. I don't mind it because there's
Sorry,
just
go.
like I don't care to see the Kings play anyone else, and I don't think the Kings. I also think if the Kings are ever gonna have a redemption story, it starts with beating the Oilers in round 1.
I guess so. I really want to see LA just take on like another grit team, you know? Just
have a heavy series.
yeah, like
Yeah.
a heavy hitting tough first round, and like as much as I love watching Edmonton just become totally befuddled by the trap and have their top 6 rendered useless marginally,
Yeah.
it doesn't bring joy to my heart the way that like a tough LA insert anyone else like LA Calgary would be like a tough hard hitting series.
Yeah, I'm projecting an Edmonton Oilers sweep of the first round against the Kings because every single year we've done the same thing. The Kings have gotten better, yet further away from beating the Oilers.
Weird how that works, eh?
Right? Didn't they lose in 7, 6, and 5?
Yeah.
They're going to lose in 4. I don't. There's no logic to it. That's just how it goes.
It's gonna happen.
Yes, it's written in stone.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, that's fair. It's some things are just meant to be.
I really just hope that LA somehow keeps it up and Vancouver can draw them, and then Vegas and Edmonton can duke it out in the first round.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for. Is it gonna happen? No. Anyways,
We'll get there.
yeah. Let's get to the Canucks.
Which I was going to bring up really quick because I would love to see a Vancouver LA series. If LA really
I
got
would
their
like that
stuff
series
together,
too.
that would be fun.
That'd be a heater series.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That'd be a rough and tumble series with high scoring. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
Anyways,
And like, there'd be a lot of good defense played in that series too.
yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah.
We talked a lot last week about Pettersson Miller.
And I should apologize to our listeners. Here's the deal, because that episode got cut off 15 minutes short, but
Right.
that episode was like an hour and a half long, and typically before this season, when we switched to doing full video all the time, I only handled the audio because I have a laptop built for audio work only.
Yeah.
It doesn't do video editing beyond 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So I use my girlfriend's MacBook, and it doesn't do video editing beyond like an hour smoothly. And I tried exporting that episode for about 6 hours,
Yeah.
and the program kept crashing, and it finally got through it,
Nice.
but it cut off 15 minutes.
Bound.
So it like exported, but it didn't export properly because it just doesn't have the RAM to do it.
Yeah.
So I do truly apologize to our listeners, and we'll get to what you missed now. But I just wanted to make that, abundantly clear that I am very aware that we had some technical difficulties last episode, and I apologize. I won't say it won't happen again.
No, it won't happen again. We got to fix for it now.
But do we? Because
Yes.
okay, because yeah, I just need some better equipment, but I don't have $2,000 on me right now for a new MacBook. If y'all want to send in some money to the show, let me know.
Yeah. For next time when we have like a good episode, not a good episode. I mean,
Like when we actually like have something.
when
to
we have
say.
a long episode,
Yeah.
we'll just tap halfway through at about the halfway point, so that you can just edit one video that's 45 minutes, and then edit one video that's 45 minutes, send them both to me, and I can put them together before uploading.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah, that works way better. Because like that laptop
than
was
trying to just
screaming.
Yeah.
I had a little pop up that was coming up, and it was every 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Like every time I did an edit action, it would be like, your laptop is using an alarming amount of RAM and damages could occur. Do you
Right.
want to continue? And I was like, yes.
Yes, I do.
Ignore. Sorry, babes. XO, love you.
Yeah. So Pettersson and Miller.
Pettersson and Miller.
Where is it gonna go? We don't know. There's there's a civil war happening between the fan base right now on who should they keep. Should they keep both? Should they get rid of both? Are you Team Miller? Are you Team Pettersson? And it's been just a complete disaster, of course. But how do we have some fun with this?
The only way we know how.
We do some mock trades.
Bingo.
So we started this by picking the teams that were in the rumor mill to start, right? Boston, Columbus, and the Rangers.
There's a couple more, but those were the ones that we saw the most likelihood coming out
at
of.
the beginning. Yeah. So I say we get into it.
I'm ready.
Y'all tell us if these are terrible. We will fight amongst ourselves on if these are terrible. Let's do it.
Let's get it. I mean, for the record,
Yeah.
I don't think there is like a good trade for any of this right now.
Mm-hmm.
I just think the trading with all this noise is the worst possible thing
Sure.
because people know you're desperate to make a change.
Sure.
You just look vulnerable. So like, I hate any of these trades. Just work it out.
I mean, the Rangers got value for Trouba, even with all that going on. Somehow. I think when you're talking about Pettersson and JT Miller, like these guys have produced at a high enough level that the noise doesn't matter all that much. Let's start with Boston though here, because in particular I see Boston as a team that might not care about the public image around JT Miller.
They don't care about a lot of how they're perceived.
Exactly, right? For me, I had JT Miller going to the Boston Bruins with Pavel Zacha, Dean Letourneau, and a 2026 third coming back. The Canucks have stated that they're looking for a centerman. Pavel Zacha, I mean, not my favorite player, but strikes me as a Rick Tocchet and Patrick Alvin type of player. Pretty decent at just everything and playing straightforward hockey, young enough, decent enough contract. I think they'd be interested in the player. Dean Letourneau, massive center prospect, 6'7", one of their best prospects in the pipeline. Probably not their best, but one of their best. And then, you always got to toss in some sort of pick in there. So
You know they will, and it'll have a
Of course.
condition that like is absolutely absurd.
yeah, exactly. So I mean, that's my first pick there, or trade there. How do y'all feel about that?
I don't hate the Zacha addition. I don't think the Canucks need a prospect right now, just with where their window's at.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they'd be better suited like shopping a defenseman or just something extra in case there's more injuries to come, because like you still have defensemen where you're not sure where they're going to be come playoffs, and you're clearly trying to still get there, right?
I just think that Boston's still trying to get there, so they're not going to want to give up 2 roster players. And the Canucks, I don't think, are afraid of making a move like that, because like they didn't want picks back for Horvat per se. But it also didn't matter. They ended up getting the first because that's what they were willing to give up, and then flipping that first for Hronek within a month.
Which was smart. I mean,
Right? So, I mean, like, that's what I think they'd probably be doing with possibly both Letourneau and that pick.
fair.
Jay, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, honestly, what you just said kind of like opened my mind a bit.
Mm.
Because in general, like I would hate this. Because like I feel like Zacha is just like a drop off from Miller.
Yeah.
And then like Letourneau in a third, like that really gonna like help the Canucks in 2 years.
Right.
Like Letourneau, first round pick last year.
Yeah.
Sure. Maybe.
I think there's value there.
But I don't know.
Like, I don't think he's going to help the team next year, no.
That's a second line defenseman at the deadline. Like,
That's the thing, right? You package that with, like,
the third and a
yeah,
fifth,
or
and you're
even
done.
with one of your firsts. Like, if you put that package together, right, a first, a third, and Letourneau for something, like, you could get a legit top 4 defenseman, which this team desperately needs.
100%, especially with Hronek being off and on injured, like, aforementioned, which was for the first.
Yeah. Hockey Live. Absolutely nothing beats it. The thrill of a game in person, crashing against the boards, pucks off the glass. It's phenomenal. And if you're looking to catch a game, check out Game Time for tickets. The Game Time app has you covered for everything you need with tickets. They've got super deals, they've got seat views before you buy, lowest price guarantees, event cancellation protection, job loss protection, and even more. And that's not even including Game Time Picks, a curation system that makes it even easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Coming up this week, we've got the Oilers and the Canucks. Hockey Night in Canada at Rogers Arena. You can find tickets on Game Time for as low as $101. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code THPN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. Playoffs? We're talking about playoffs? You bet we are. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Scoring touchdowns is key to winning in the playoffs, and you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like a player to score 6. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. Coming up this week, must-watch football. Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen head-to-head. You can find the Baltimore Ravens for -115 on the money line and the Buffalo Bills at -105. Lines and odds obviously subject to change. New DraftKings customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in New Hampshire, Oregon, and Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. NFL Plus premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus premium terms at nfl.com/terms.
What you got?
I have a little bit of a weird one. In all reality, I very much understand that like Miller is the person that Boston is most likely to pick.
Yes.
But I saw you took him, and I was like, nah, that's boring. Let's have some balance here.
Okay.
So, to Boston,
yes.
I got Elias Pettersson.
Okay.
And
God help my soul if that ever happened.
And back to Vancouver, I have Elias Lindholm, Andrew Peak, a third and a fifth.
I almost internally combusted.
And my logic on this is I've seen them do dumber for hockey trades that don't make sense in 2 years. They're comfortable with Lindholm already, and they have a thing about players that they're comfortable with.
They do.
And the biggest issue here is that, like, Pettersson and Miller don't get along. If they know that Lindholm and Miller get along, then is that not just a solution? And then you have a 1-2C, because we, like you said in the first episode of this year, I like Lindholm. He's just not a first-line center.
If Patrick Alvin ever did this, he deserves to be thrown out of an airplane.
And
not even into water.
But I think it's the type of, like, asinine thing that could just happen so perfectly, especially because, like, with the defensive situation, you have some injuries. He was a healthy scratch in Columbus. He's been a off and on, like, 6th, 7th player in Boston. They won't miss him desperately, but you guys could use him if you have the injury. Like, that's what he served for Boston last year, and that's how he worked his way in the lineup this year, is just being that extra asset come playoffs.
So what do you evaluate Pavel Zacha as?
I think he's a very solid, like, middle bottom of the pack second line center.
Yeah.
I don't see him like.
I agree with that.
I think it's a disservice to call him a third line center, but
I agree.
I think it's too much of an honor to be like he's
a defined 2C.
Yeah, exactly.
I would say he's a mid 2C. Like, you're not loving it, but you're not hating it.
Exactly. It's just like he's a player and he's probably going to do good enough, but he's also a player that you're going to have to put a really good or hardworking right wing beside him. Also, his vision is just kind of like mid. His mobility is kind of mid. He does well defensively, but, you know, he's a two-way center.
See, like for me, and obviously I'm a biased Canucks fan here, but the Zacha, Letourneau, and third package is like just enough for me to get it. If they traded Miller for that, I would not even come close to touching Pettersson for that. So that trade that you have there actually makes me want to throw up.
Yeah, sorry.
Jay, how do you feel about it? Do you think Trill's onto something here?
Hell no. Hell no. Honestly,
Thank you.
I'm like looking at this.
Okay, swap Pettersson for Miller.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Like, because I only threw Pettersson in there because, like,
I had picked Miller.
Yeah. But
so
like,
so Miller for this trade, yeah.
I honestly, I still wouldn't like it.
Nor would I.
Elias Lindholm,
Not that guy.
y'all heard?
What?
I mean, actually, nothing happened. He just hasn't been good.
yeah, I have heard how he's been in Boston, but I mean, like,
Yeah.
Boston's Boston, and he's also like,
He's been bad, and his contract sucks.
but I mean, like, he was never like the center that would. I didn't think he'd work for Boston anyways. They're too
Yeah.
robotic, and he's so fluid. Like,
So then that plus like bad defensemen and 2 mid picks. No, thank you. Absolute no, thank you.
well, yeah, they're pockets, like pocket patters, you know.
Yeah.
I just think that the Canucks have an affinity for like players that they know will work and aren't problems, and Lindholm is the epitome of like quiet player.
Maybe if Boston retained, but like they didn't pay Lindholm that on purpose.
I mean,
They
yeah,
could've.
but now you have like an issue where you're paying 2 guys a bunch of money to not get along. Wouldn't you rather just have 2 guys that get along and have a defined 1-2C?
No. No, personally, I'm good. They can figure it out.
That's fair.
I know. Okay. I'm also bitter. I get it. Let's move on to Columbus.
Clearly not having as much fun as I am.
No. All right. Columbus. I got Elias Pettersson going to Columbus as well.
Oh,
Coming back, when we first talked about this,
we both agreed.
Kent Johnson would probably be the centerpiece of a trade here.
100%.
He's not their best player in Columbus, but he is a high caliber, hasn't hit ceiling yet, young NHL player, right? Like he's not a prospect. He's in the show. He's from North Vancouver.
He's got some term.
He's got some term. There's
22, 23.
I don't know. I think he's younger than that even. I could be wrong. There's just it makes sense why Columbus would be willing to move a piece like that, and it makes sense why Vancouver would be looking to acquire a piece like that.
22.
He's 22 years old.
Got him on the fan tracks.
You have Ken Johnson.
I do.
Wow, that's nice. I've been a long-term Ken Johnson watcher because I was really wanting the Canucks to draft him. Of course, they didn't, and they actually traded that first-round pick for Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Pretty cool. Anyways, Elias Pettersson to Columbus for Kent Johnson. Denton Matichuk? I'm not really sure exactly how to pronounce his name, but he's a left-handed defenseman prospect, one of their top prospects, not their number one, but second or third best prospect, 12th overall in 2022, and add in the patented 2025 third-round pick. And that's what I got for my mock trade here to Columbus. So, I mean, this isn't a trade that I love per se, but I do see the Canucks, seeing a lot of value in Kent Johnson. I see a lot of value in Kent Johnson. And then on top of that, you get a high-end defenseman prospect who doesn't seem like he's too far away from the show now. And then, obviously, the throw-in third that is just complimentary with any trade.
I don't like it at all. I'm not going to lie. Like, if I'm sending out Pettersson, like, I know I literally just had a trade that didn't have this in it, but, like, I would want a first back at least, especially from Columbus, which a team has 2 firsts this year.
Right.
It's like, no, dog, you got to pay me one of those at least.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Like, especially with how, like, mid to doo-doo Columbus is, and they might fall off. Like, I'd really want their first. And depending on who the second first is they have, like...
Yeah, they're not falling off, though, if they add Elias Pettersson.
I mean, yeah.
And, like... But, at the end of the day, like, it's still likely to be, like, at max a wild card pick, right? So, you like the prospect of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think that I would absolutely require a first from them. Or...
For Pettersson?
Yeah, or at least, like, a more... deployable player right away with like a more discernible, seeable future, like a Dylan Cousins or something, Yeah.
We
did leave Buffalo out of this, though, by the way.
I'm in agreement with that for sure. Jay.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I mean, even as a Kent Johnson owner,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's really the centerpiece of a PD trade.
Right. Tro, you got him. You got him as the centerpiece of a JT Miller trade.
Yes, I do. So I have JT Miller and Eric Brandstrom for Kent Johnson, Matthew Olivier.
Demon.
Hey?
Demon.
That guy's sick.
Yeah, he's impressed me. So, and then a 2026 third and a 27th sixth, just like some kind of fluff to add it in.
Yeah.
There's always like just weird,
There is.
nothing burger picks.
Especially in a trade like that. All of these, I think, you'd add, a prospect that nobody cares about or has heard of, and a sixth or something like that. Just like things that get traded.
It's like, oh, what are they giving you? Oh, well, that's basically the same. I'll give you a fifth just to like bring it over the line. Okay, we're good. We're good. Okay.
Like, what did the Canucks send out for Lindholm last year? Like, it was like Hunter Bustevich, a first, and Kuzmenko, and then like a third, a fifth, and another nobody prospect. And it's like, those were all just added in for no reason. Like,
It's also things that like at a certain point you might not necessarily have the need or the use or the room for them, and they just become liabilities where it's like, hey, we're just going to draft players and then not sign them, or
for sure.
like what, right?
I like this trade much more than the one I had put here. Eric Brandstrom makes sense as someone they'd trade because like he's kind of, I think, impressed a little bit where like he's played NHL games this year. He's shown out well in some of those NHL games. I think there'd be a team out there that looks at his ability to move the puck and goes, yeah, I want a piece of that. And then on the other end, obviously JT Miller, of course, but on the other end, Ken Johnson and Matthew Oliver is in fact a demon.
He reminds me a lot of Dakota Joshua. He just like has that brand of hockey that I know Canucks love right now. I think
Rick Tocchet would love him.
Yeah, big Tocchet guy. I just think that those two guys would be amazing in the system and are exactly what would be targeted. And
I'm not gonna lie, I would pull the trigger on that trade as a Canucks fan. I like that trade.
And the other reason I threw Brandstrom in is because he's a UFA. An
RFA.
So he can still be recaptured by Columbus. It's not like they're just losing him at the end of this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like he recaptured a little bit of value in Vancouver. If they put him into a system which is doing better already, and regain some more value, in like a 3-year extension contract, that's a really good flip, or just a really nice piece to push you into like that wild card seeding.
Yeah. Jay, how do you feel?
I would do this in a heartbeat on Vancouver, but honestly, I'm looking at it the other way. Like, I don't know why Columbus would want to trade for JT Miller. Has that been rumored, or is it just interested in Petey?
I don't know which one, but I've been hearing that Columbus has been calling. Yeah.
I think that they're just hungry for a discernible like centerpiece, the way that a lot of their wingers and everything else have been developing. They just need something with experience, and they need a true culture setter. I think they had that in Johnny Gaudreau, obviously.
Yeah.
But he's not there anymore, unfortunately. And like the next guy is Sean Monahan, and he's off and on and injured and not going to be there too much longer. He's signed through to like 28 for some reason, but like I doubt he's playing out this contract.
Yeah.
He's 30 with like a ton of injury issues.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I agree with that. Okay, let's go to the Rangers. I am trading JT Miller and Elias Pettersson to the Rangers. However, it's the defenseman Elias Pettersson, not the forward Elias Pettersson.
That is going in the first half.
Along with Nils Höglander for Alexis Lafreniere, and Braden Schneider. My thoughts here, Nils Höglander doesn't have a ton of value, but still has some upside. JT Miller is JT Miller. Elias Pettersson, the defenseman, is like a solid prospect, but not like a huge world-breaking prospect. But I think you kind of need to get more if you want to get two like defined roster players off of the Rangers, even though it's a bit of a dumpster fire there right now. And Alexis, I'm a big fan of. I think that with some real development in Vancouver and under Rick Tocchet, that guy could be a gamer. And we already know for sure that the Canucks management group has been really high on Braden Schneider for a few years now.
And justly so. He
Justly so.
He looks really solid. I don't like this.
No.
But I believe it. Honestly.
Right.
Like it seems real.
Right. If you saw that trade cross the timeline, you'd be like, that's a trade right there.
Yeah, it's like something I would not like have a double take and be like, is that for real? Like who sourced this? Who vetted it? Who
Fire
posted
someone.
it? You know,
Yeah.
like exactly. So I don't hate it. I mean, Rangers obviously JT Miller fits exactly what
Yes.
they are.
Yes.
And I think Holglander for some weird reason just like perfectly emulates like their ideal like third line winger.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but
Nope, I
they're
agree with
just
that.
so like he's almost a Kako.
And the Canucks are done with him.
Yeah, in a exact Kako sort of way.
Yeah.
Like they're almost parables at this
Yeah.
point. Except I think that New York is arrogant enough to think that they could recover the value.
Of course they are.
I know they can't, but they would think so.
Yep.
And Pettersson's just kind of like that nothing burger add-in. It's like
Yeah.
a six.
He's a good D prospect, but like he's not Tom Olander.
No, yeah, and he's just added in there to kind of topple off the trade and seal in the cracks. But yeah, I don't hate that, honestly. I don't like Lafreniere though.
I know you don't. I know.
I actually just have a question.
Sure.
That is, do you do you have any concern on the Canucks developing players? Like,
No.
I feel like there's no proof either way.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually don't feel like Rick Tocchet hockey.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
Like, I actually don't know if that would be beneficial for a young player.
I have less faith in Rick Tocchet than I do Jim Rutherford and Patrick Alvin. Like I don't it's not about like Rick Tocchet developing a player because like I don't really know how Rick Tocchet develops players, but I know that Rutherford teams are built off of developing players, right? You look at those Pittsburgh runs, you look at Connor Sherry and all those guys through the pipeline, Brian Rust, all of those guys that they ran through the pipeline, and you look at how the moment Rutherford and co came to Vancouver, that was their number one priority, was changing the way that organization develops players from the top down. And it's working so far. I mean, like, there's been a lot of guys. I mean, Höglander's a tough case because he had already been in the NHL for 2 years when they came here, right? But, like, I look at guys that are, like, getting into the lineup now, like Christian Wolanin playing games and Aatu Ratu playing games and Max Sasson playing games. And I really do have faith in the Vancouver Canucks organization's ability to develop, even if it's not Rick Tocchet himself.
Agree. I actually wholeheartedly agree. And I think that Höglander, like you mentioned, just missed the bus a little bit. Like those,
He did.
It's really understated how essential those like first 2 years are.
And the Canucks were terrible for so many years. They would just throw guys to the fire, right?
Yeah.
And they were very lucky that Brock Besser, Elias Pettersson, and Quinn Hughes were elite enough that it stuck because the rest of them didn't.
Yeah, because you figure it out or you don't, and
Yeah.
it just destroys you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm very much with you. For my trade, I got JT Miller and Teddy Bluger, just because Teddy Bluger feels like that like middle bottom pairing player that's around.
Yep.
He seems like trade bait. And in return, also he has like solid value.
Yes.
Something I think the Rangers would value and do need.
Yeah.
In return, I got Keandre Miller, Philip Hedl, and a 2025 third.
This one is a big no from me. Just because, like, The Canucks have no center depth, and that's trading away 2 centers.
Is Bluger a center? I thought he was a wing.
No.
Oh, whoops.
Like, Teddy Bluger is a guy that, like, plays on your fourth line, but, like, does a really fine job when he moves up to the third line when someone's out. And, like, they really just don't have any other centers like that right now. And JT Miller also plays center. Like, I don't think the Canucks could survive that.
That's fair. I must have misread the depth chart. I thought he was a right wing.
Yeah, and then Keandre Miller, I like the player. Not enough.
I just think it's someone that the Canucks would be in the
I don't
market to
disagree with
target.
that. Yeah.
Especially when you can stretch out the pairings, provided you get Hronek back. Like, then that really gives you flexibility.
Right. So, fair enough.
That was the logic behind it. But do I like it? No. Like I said, going into this, I hate every one of these trades.
Yeah, me too.
I don't think you can get good return for any of these right now.
The only one here that I actually quite like as a Canucks fan is your Columbus trade, the Miller and Branstrom for Johnson Oliver. I like that one. Couple wild cards here. We both got Carolina kind of in the wild card thing. These aren't fully fleshed out, but I've got Pettersson for Alexander Nikishin, I think it is. Absolutely sick defenseman prospect for them, who's likely going to be entering the league near the end of the season here when his season's done, and probably could slot into the top 4 right away. That's a centerpiece there. You've got Natchez Stahl and a second/third in there.
Give or take,
Give or take kind of
whatever
thing.
BS gets
totally.
it across the line.
But Natchez is the centerpiece on that one.
Yeah. And then Stahl obviously being like the third line center to give you the depth, which we just talked about you so desperately need, or second line, whatever.
Yeah. I could see that happening. Obviously, Pettersson and the Hurricanes almost happened once already. As much as, yes, Vancouver was trying to play hardball and say, hey, sign this contract or we're trading you. They did have an offer in place.
And it was very real. And it was closer than I think they'd like to admit.
Yes.
So I just think, history can repeat itself. And I mean, like, it's pretty easy if you get jockeyed around by all these other teams that know you're struggling to go to somewhere has good faith and good interest.
Yes.
And is also equally as desperate for a center.
Totally. Pettersson on the Hurricanes would be nasty.
Absolutely.
Be nasty.
And I think that the way that Gensel worked out with the Hurricanes last year, it's kind of gotten them off the idea of trading for solutions. I think that's a team that very much hated the idea of trading for solutions for a long time. But it works. It sometimes works, especially when you just
Pettersson's a long-term solution for them, right? That's not a rental.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it gives them that stability moving forward that they so desperately need.
Yeah. My last one's McTavish as well. I think Mason McTavish is a guy there that the Ducks would be interested in, a guy like Pettersson. Your Swedish centers. Could you imagine having Leo Carlsson, Elias Pettersson for the next 10 years down the middle?
Gorgeous.
God, that would be sexy to watch. And I think the Canucks would be a team that would be really interested in a guy like Mason McTavish, a guy who's kind of just been stifled out by everything horrific going on in Anaheim. He's losing his playing time to guys like Leo Carlsson. He's been good when Zegras is out of the lineup, like you said. There's still, I think, hope that guy could be like a true top-end center. He's young enough.
I have belief in his game. Like, when I watch him play, he passes the eye test still. Like,
yeah, he does.
It's not a player that's getting worse like you see in some of these guys. It's just a guy that I feel is in the wrong environment or just hasn't, like, hit that final attitude, like, breaker, Like, there was that moment where, like, McKinnon, for example, just, like, snapped.
Yes.
He just broke into that element.
Colorado's King Vaughn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, I just feel like he's going to hit that moment and it'll just, or like, Sam Bennett, where it's like, this guy's an absolute plug for 8 years. And then I have nowhere. He's got everyone so scared he's putting up 100 points a season.
Yeah.
It's like,
no, I agree with that. Okay. that's the mock trades for this week. Obviously, this situation is still developing. It's one of the bigger ones in the NHL right now, so we'll probably end up getting back to it. But
That was fun.
tell us if you love it. Tell us if you hate it. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
Last up today, we got a blind ranking. Jonesy's got some blind rankings for us today. Do you have those prepared, my friend?
I do.
All right. So today we're going to be blind ranking teams' futures.
Love it.
So are we going to say like the next 10 years for a team?
In my head, it's like next 5-10 years.
5 to 10 years?
Yeah.
I'd like it. Are we ready to go on that?
We can go.
Any
First
questions?
up,
Yeah, let's get after it.
We're doing it like in tandem, right? Like,
Yeah,
okay.
in tandem.
the first team is the Montreal Canadiens.
It's an interesting one. It's hard to like, when you're comparing the other 32, 31 teams to it. There's a lot of teams that are going to have a tougher next 5-10 years than the Montreal Canadiens. They really have some things going for them there.
Yeah, I really, really like the Canadians. I'm not the biggest on the Canadians. I
Sure.
think they still have some like glaring issues depth-wise, but
Mhm.
I think that a lot of their draft picks have been hitting lately.
Yeah.
And are going to keep hitting. Like, they look good.
Like they got to have one of the better prospect pools in the league right now.
100%. I just really hope it isn't one of those things like LA, where 3 years ago LA looked like they had the sickest prospect pool, and
Yeah.
now it's like they
Do
all
they?
turned out to be middle six
Yeah.
or, bottom 4D.
I think it's got to be like, who do you have above the Habs? Yeah. I mean, I'd have a few teams actually above the Habs for sure.
Like Utah.
I'd probably say like
It sounds like crazy, but Utah, they have some guys that are already almost there.
and the
They
team's
have
like
some-
already pretty good. Like they're just gonna get better.
And
right?
they have some like, newer guys. Like Iginla's gonna be a stud. Like, they've gotten off some really early picks on some really good prospects,
Mhm.
And they have the good prospects there to guide them up.
Yeah. Like the Habs, honestly, like it's crazy because the last like couple weeks has changed this for me. Because they've been good, and it's like, oh, maybe this team is actually a little bit closer.
Don't think so.
I know that's what I mean. I feel like I'm getting biased a little bit here.
Yeah, recency bias checked out for me. I have them sitting like probably second or third.
Yeah, I don't think it's one for sure.
It's not the best, and I feel like maybe not even second best. I can probably still name another 3 or 4 teams that have like more promising, like
But
discernibly good futures, like San Jose.
I know, but
I'd
we only
put there.
get a few shots here, right? So like I think we should go 3.
I'm with 3. I think that's like a really safe benchmark. They got like 2 or 3 good defensive prospects, 2 or 3 really solid goaltending prospects.
Yeah, going 3 first is always like the most basic,
Yeah,
like the safest play imaginable.
It is the like white tank top and yoga pants of picks.
All right, Jay, what do you got next for us?
The second team, the team we briefly just talked about, we got the Anaheim Ducks.
Like 4 or 5 for me. Probably 5.
No,
like,
it can't be 5.
yeah, dog. Like
You're gonna have like them above like teams like Boston and stuff that are like good but about to have an awful next decade. Like you can't have them there,
Jay, you're not gonna do that to us, right? You're not gonna.
Jay
just,
is
like,
for
throw,
sure
like,
gonna do that to us.
Yeah, you're a demon. I know it. Like it's gotta be 4 though, because
Because it's not better than Montreal's.
It's not better than Montreal's, but it could be much worse. They have Carlson, but like my biggest issue is that their development of the prospects just
I know, me too.
blows. Like
And
look at Zegras, look at McTavish, look
Yeah.
at Leno.
Yeah.
Leno is going to be an absolute stud. He hasn't played more than 6 games a season,
Yeah.
and his point totals are getting worse in the A every year.
Yeah.
Like that.
They've got so many good prospects. They just have so much dysfunction in the organization and can't develop them.
And that San Diego Gulls franchise just blows. It just sucks the life out of all of their prospects. Like
They gotta be 4. They gotta be below the Habs, I think. The Habs really have a good thing going there.
I will say, I I'm not a big believer of the Ducks,
Me either.
like in just how they've developed their players, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But at least they're still bottling out. Like they still have a chance to get another one of them guys.
Yeah.
Like I think Leo Carlson is one of those guys.
He's a dog.
Yes. And I
And, like,
agree.
And I didn't say this when we were talking about Montreal, but like I don't think Nick Suzuki is one of those guys.
Mm.
That's just that. I'm not a big Nick Suzuki guy. I couldn't go without saying that actually.
I am like a Nick. I don't think he'll be as good as they think he is, but I don't think it'll matter either by the time they get to where they're going. Like, I think he's just going to be like an elite second piece. And that's fine because they have so much more going for them still, you know?
Sure.
But like, I think Suzuki's still a very good player and he has a hell of a shot. So,
Mm-hmm.
But you guys are agreeing on fourth? Is
I
that
think so. We have to.
all right?
This could go really badly for us. You know that.
yeah.
We've really done something here by putting these two rebuild teams.
I thought that we were just going to get like all rebuild teams and rank through rebuilds, but then yeah, of course
Why
it's
did you think
Jonesy,
that?
so they're going to
Why would you think that?
Next up, we got the Seattle Kraken.
5. Woof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woof. The Seattle Kraken suck.
But they have Berkeley Catton. They
yeah.
got Caden Price.
Eh.
They got Price, yeah. Or is he a Habs prospect?
I don't know. They don't have elite talent now.
Yeah.
I like
and
Berkeley Cat.
I
I
really
do.
like Catton.
But like, is that your savior
probably not.
with that team tied up in Grubauer and
As
all
as
these
much as I like Catton and
Chandler
don't want to be a
Stevenson.
hater on a 16-year-old, I think he's gonna be with this team in this environment a very decent second line.
it's just like
His whole life.
but like even then, like, okay, they got a good prospect like every team does.
Yeah,
That doesn't make
a
you
one
it doesn't make
singular
you-
one.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Well,
make you
that's
a good
not
team.
true. Not every team has a good prospect. Boston.
No, they got that
But
Caden guy,
Yeah, and I mean,
Caden Lindstrom or whatever.
yeah, and Letourneau or wherever
Yeah,
we just
like-
talked about it. But I mean, like, compared to what they should have.
I know, but like every team does. That's not.
Yeah,
enough.
I mean,
Seattle's
like,
5.
if
They're
Montreal
in
and
for a rough
Anaheim
time.
are 3-4, they have to beat 5. But like,
They're in for a real rough decade.
yes,
When we get to, like 5 to 10 years, they will still be paying Chandler Stevenson. Womp womp.
yikes.
What's next, Jay? What are we doing here?
Next up,
I'm
we
so
got.
scared.
Don't be. Next up, we got the Chicago Blackhawks.
Okay,
2.
1.
You're gonna put the Blackhawks above the Sharks?
I'm not positive we're about to get the Sharks.
That's valid. Actually, that's yeah, 1. Sure, fine.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. If the next team up is Boston, I'm gonna shoot myself in the
Yeah.
face. So
I just think Chicago. At the end of the day, they got the money. They're terrible again this year, so they're gonna get another really high end prospect. I think it's gonna be a little bit longer for them, but I have no, like, disbelief that an organization that's proven that they know how to do it isn't gonna find a way to do it again.
I agree.
And they have Connor Bedard.
And I mean, like, they're one of those teams. Like, I think another reason why Montreal sits 3 for me is that they haven't been very active. I just feel like they could be doing so much more. And Chicago
Sure.
just stays aggressive every
Exactly.
deadline. They're
Exactly.
like, hey, who has cap? We want picks. Who has cap? Like,
That's what I'm saying. Like they're really focused on getting better.
yeah. They have, like, as much as rebuilds aren't linear, they have a very linear vision of, like,
Yeah.
these are the benchmarks we're hitting, and we're not missing these.
And to Jonesy's point about, like, Montreal not having the guy, Nick Suzuki, there's a lot of talk around, is he a guy? Connor Bedard is the guy.
100%.
And
Yeah.
that's it's the number one thing a rebuild needs. All right, let's put
absolutely.
him. Let's put him one.
Before I announce the final team, I will just say personally that Chicago would have been my one of all these teams.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
Okay.
We love when you give it, Jay.
The final team in this blind ranking will be the Calgary Flames.
I hate you.
Jay, you know what, man? But honestly, we did it to ourselves. Calgary Flames go number 2. That's not where they belong. But
No, but I mean, like,
we gotta stand by it.
yeah.
I love Nazem Kadri.
Connor Zari is going to be the first line center for 15 years.
Dustin Wolf, 6 straight Vezinas, coming right up. All right.
Rasmus Anderson.
I love Rasmus Anderson.
I actually really do.
Did
too,
y'all
but,
see his
like,
this week?
No, what do you say?
They
Anderson
asked
say?
him. I don't have it verbatim, but they asked him, and he said, "Yeah, I hate the Oilers and I hate the Canucks. That's just the way I am." And I love that quote. I love a guy who is into the rivalry.
He just stands on business.
Like he's
I
like,
just
no,
hate
I
those
hate
guys."
them. Yeah, I love it.
I'm 100% here for it.
We need more of that. I like Crosby, the most personality that guy has like ever shown in his life.
I don't like him.
Was when he said he hated Philly. I loved that.
I just love guys that immediately buy into whatever's going on in a team. I had one guy like that this year in our fucking beer league of all
Yeah.
things. Like
You expected in beer league.
we were bitching about a team, and then he was like, "Oh, we don't like these guys." He's like never played a game before. Like he's just
all in.
gotten here, and we're just like, "Yeah, we straight up don't like these guys. We have like a long history." And he's like, "These guys, let's get them." It's like, dude,
Beer league, you get that though because like
chill. It's
you
beer
always
league.
got beef in beer league because it's the same team over and over.
I guess, but it's beer league. Chill.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
like come on now. What they do to you? They haven't done anything.
But I love it in the pros.
I'm so here for it.
Those Philly Pittsburgh games were mean back then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Good
I
times.
miss that era.
know.
The Giroux Crosby
Yeah.
beef off.
Yeah. It
Like that
so
was an
good.
underrated beef.
It was. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like for how much the Ovi Crosby
Mhm.
BS was played out,
Mhm.
like that there was real hate there.
Yeah. The Ovi Crosby was like the Battle of the Stars thing, right? But no, there was real hatred there
Yeah.
in the Philly beef.
I don't like any of them.
There you go.
Attaboy.
Okay.
Say it with your
Well,
chest.
Valid.
I know we about to wrap up,
Yeah.
so I just wanted to bring some BS up.
Sure.
Man, we got a Tampa Bay versus Boston Stadium series.
That's right.
I was
Who
so
cares?
happy
Who
not
cares?
talking about this.
I know.
Nah,
Boo.
we got it. We got to talk about this. It's
No.
just so disgusting.
It's disgusting. You're absolutely right. Horrific.
Also, it's so weird to me, in a way. Well, it's not even a big deal, but it's like they call it the Stadium Series,
Yeah.
but like that's also just what the Winter Classic is.
Yes.
Like it's just like a fake name.
Like the Heritage Classic too. It's like they're
Yes.
just afraid to name it the same thing.
Yes.
Well, because do you know how stupid the WWE would look if they had WrestleMania 1, 2, and 3 in the same year? And then 4, 5, 6 in the same year? It wouldn't be special.
Yeah.
Yeah, our semi-annual Winter Classic.
Fire everybody. It's a travesty.
Yeah, 100%.
Like who even wants to watch that game?
Not
No
me.
one.
It's hosted in Tampa, right?
Like I don't even
Yeah.
care that it's in Tampa. Honestly, I don't mind that at all.
I totally care.
I
That
don't.
bugs the hell out of me.
Like I don't know if I've said on the pod before, but like being in Seattle for the Winter Classic,
Mm-hmm.
I actually can understand how it could like grow the game.
Yeah.
So I don't totally hate it. But they're like 4 years late on it.
Yep.
Yeah, and like, I don't know. We've just had so many issues getting ice going in like normal places that you might have ice. Like shoving ice into the middle of Florida. like doesn't make me feel secure. And it'd be cool if like maybe it was like just a little like preseason pickup game that they had a sponsorship with that new fake ice company where you can just like lay down, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Don't care. Could have been a plethora of other teams that could have been way sicker. Could have been Carolina, New Jersey, not to like bang on the, Devil's drum here, but like,
yeah,
that's a sick series.
Yeah.
That's a sick, leave it. Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
Wrap. NHL's stupid. They fail at doing public outreach all the time.
Also, I hate Connor McDavid. Sold my parlay. I couldn't believe it.
We had a crazy parlay going on points. If you're betting, do it at DraftKings, of course. And we
shout out DraftKings for sponsoring.
On points, right? This player to get 1 point, this player to get 1 point, this player to get 1 point. McDavid, it's always insane to get 1 point. There's no shot, right? So we put it on 2 points. This bum only got 1 point
against the Weasley Bruins.
God damn it,
It was
Dave.
a 10-leg parlay. Every single one hit except that.
That's... Yeah.
Keep your head up.
Keep your head up. Boom.
Boom.
Stick talk. Stick talk. Stick talk. Stick talk. Stick talk. Stick talk.